Students, we are learning lesson number 4, environmental balance. In that next point we have to study, and that next point is their need of environmental conservation. Next point is their need of environmental conservation. Need of environmental conservation. Need of environmental conservation. So in case of the need of environmental conservation, why there is need to conserve the environment? So in case of this environment, our total life depends upon environment. Our total life depends upon environment, and the existence of human being depends upon environment. If the environment will exist, then only we can survive. So how to achieve this environmental conservation? How to achieve this environmental conservation? And for that, all the human beings, they are not aware about environmental conservation. So unknowingly they are doing different activities, and they are cutting the trees, they are doing the pollution in the environment, and because of that environment is coming into danger. So unknowingly they are not knowing about how and why there is need to protect the environment. So general public, general people, they are unaware of that particular environmental conservation. So there is need to make people aware for the environmental conservation. And again, so this environmental conservation, in that first important thing is there, we should make children's away through the education. We have to make the children's away through the education. So if you are giving this education to the children, then automatically future generations or that public will become aware of the environmental conservation. So there is need to conserve the environment, and because of that some important points are there why to conserve the environment. So again, important thing is that one or two people, they cannot protect, they cannot conserve the environment. So for that one, public movement is important. For that one, public movement is important. So if all the people will involve into the environmental conservation or environmental protection, so because of that it will be easy to conserve the environment. So one or two people, they cannot conserve the environment, but if all the people will become aware about the environment, then we can conserve, we can protect the environment. So 2-3 points are there. First one is there, general public is unaware about environmental conservation. So we have to make them aware for the environmental conservation. Again, one or two people, they cannot make environmental conservation, they cannot contribute towards the environmental conservation, but there should be one public movement. So all the people, if they will become aware to conserve the environment, then it will be easy to conserve the environment. Next thing is there, how to make environmental conservation possible. For that, children's, so school students, for them, through their education, in their education system only, that particular environmental protection, environmental conservation, such awareness should be brought in the children's, then only it will be easy. So again, next thing is the need of the environmental conservation, why there is need to conserve the environment. So some points are there in that textbook activities given. In that activity at the middle, need of environmental conservation, need of environmental conservation is there. And for the different points are there, why to conserve the environment, why to protect the environment. So for that, first need is there, to conserve the natural resources. First point is there, to conserve or to protect natural resources, natural resources. Second point is there, why to conserve the environment? So to conserve the nation and to improve the to conserve the nation as well as to make people aware or to avoid the problems. Okay, to conserve the nation, to conserve the nation and to avoid degradation of environment. Next thing is there, third point is there, why to conserve the environment. Another thing is there, to improve or to give quality life and a sustainable future to the next generation. To improve or to give quality life to quality life and a sustainable future to next generations, So to improve or to give the quality life and sustainable future to the next generation, environmental conservation is important. Next thing is that to protect and conserve biodiversity. So why it is important? Fourth point is there, to protect and conserve biodiversity. To protect and to conserve the biodiversity. To protect and to conserve biodiversity. Fourth point is there. Next point is the fifth point, and in case of the fifth point, to maintain the environmental balance or to maintain the balance of the nature. Fifth point is there, to maintain balance of the nature. And one more point is there, and that sixth point is there, to maintain clean, pollution free air, water and land. Sixth point is there, to maintain clean, pollution free air, water and land. So these 6 points are important. Why there is need to conserve the environment? Question will be asked. Explain or give reason there is need to improve or there is need of environmental conservation. Why there is need to conserve the environment, and for that these reasons are there. So first reason is there. What is the first reason? To conserve and protect the natural resources. Second one is there, to conserve the natural nature to avoid degradation of the environment. Next one is there, to improve or to give quality life and sustainable future to the next generation. Then a fourth point is there. In that fourth point, next point is there, to protect and conserve the biodiversity. And next, fifth point is there, to maintain balance in the nature, to maintain the environmental balance. And sixth point is to maintain clean, pollution-free air, water and land. So to avoid pollution of the air, water and land, there is need to conserve the biodiversity. There is need to conserve the environmental conservation. So we'll move to the next point. That one is there about UNEP. Next point is there about UNEP. UNEP. So after this, next point is there, how that particular different laws, different acts were formulated or how they were established. For that one information about one institute we are going to learn, and that institute is their international. Institute is their international, and in that, so important these points are there in that UNEP in 1972. Which year? In the year 1972, one institute organization, UNEP. UNEP full form is there United Nations. United Nations Environmental Program. United Nations Environmental Program. UNEP in 1972, UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program, held one conference on human and environment. One conference were arranged by the UNEP, and it was arranged on the human and environment. And in that, environmental problems were discussed. So in what you can say, in 1972, UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program, arranged conference on human and environmental problems. Human and environment. Human and environment. And environmental problems. Environmental problems. Problems were discussed. So, in 1972, these problems were discussed. And next thing is there in India, what happened? India, and through this conference, India established separate environmental department. Next thing is there, India established separate environmental department. Environmental department. So India developed one environmental department separate. Next thing is that after discussion on environmental problem, India established Minister of the Environment and Forest. So through this discussion, India developed separate Ministry of Environment and Forest. So next thing is there, through discussion, India established separate Ministry of Environment and Forest. Environment and Forest. And another thing is there. Next thing is there, in case of the India, what this institution is doing. So this department is helping to plan about the environment, to enact the laws, and to increase awareness among the people about the environment and forest. So this department or this ministry helps to plan. Ministry helps to plan, induct, and to make awareness among the people since 1985. since 1985. So all these points will come into a peep into history. These points are coming into a peep into history. That means knowing about history. A peep into history or knowing about history. So next thing is that these points also you can write, because from this also any question may come. So each and every line from the textbook is important. Each and every line from the textbook is important to score the out of marks. So next thing is there some next point is there environmental conservation, our social responsibility. So up to here we have studied environmental conservation, need of environmental conservation, and how that particular institutes were developed. So in 1972 UNEP arranged one conference on human and environmental problems. In that and the environmental problems were discussed. India established separate environmental department. For that discussion, India established Ministry of Environment and Forest, and this Ministry of Environment and Forest, it is helping to do the planning for inducting the laws and to make awareness among the people since 1985. Peep into history. So next one is the environmental conservation. Our social responsibility. Next point is the environmental conservation, our social responsibility. So why it is our social responsibility? So human beings or man is social animal, we are saying. Man is social animal, that means man lives or he likes to live into the society. So next point is there environmental conservation, our social responsibility. Why it is called as our social responsibility? So one thing we are knowing that there is interrelationship between human beings and environment. First thing is there is interrelationship between, there is interdependence of the human and environment. And human being came on the earth long years after when earth was formed. So human beings are initially on the earth, there were no life, but human beings stepped on the earth after long years or so many years after the formation of earth. So but human being has proved its superiority as compared to the other animals on the earth. So human being has established or he has proved superiority on the earth as compared to the other animals because of his intelligence, because of his memory, and because of his imagination power. So human beings is an intelligent animal, and because of his intelligence he has made or he has proved superiority over the earth. Third point is that in case of the human beings establish domination over the nature. So every sector, everywhere, human being is dominating on the environment. So next thing is the human beings has utilized natural resources beyond the limit. For the making our life comfortable, we are human beings, we are using natural resources beyond the limit, and because of that environmental problems are arising, these problems are increasing. And fifth point is that so human has a crucial role to maintain the environmental balance or to maintain the environment. So who is using maximum portion of the nature? Human being. So who is having that particular right, or whose responsibility is there to conserve the environment? That responsibility is there of the human beings. and because of that he is having crucial role into the environmental conservation, into the environmental protection. And if human has disturbed the environment, so who has disturbed environment in large amount, that environment is disturbed by the human beings. So if human has disturbed the environmental balance, so human only can conserve and improve the quality of life. So human beings has disturbed the nature of balance of the environment, so human being has to improve that particular quality of the environment, or to improve that particular, or to conserve the environment. So related to these points, first thing is there is interrelationship. There is interrelationship. There is interrelationship between human and environment. Human and environment. Human and environment. So next thing is that human being has proved superiority over the earth. Human has proved superiority over the earth as compared to other organisms or other animals, as compared to the other animals. Third point is there and why he has proved superiority over the earth as compared to other animals, and human beings shown domination over the nature due to its intelligence, then what you can say, memory and imagination. Intelligence, memory and imagination. So because of that he has made domination over the nature. Next thing is that he utilized all natural resources beyond the limit. Fourth point is that he utilized all natural resources beyond the limit, and because of that, so environmental problems increased. So environmental problems increased. So why environmental problems increased? Because human beings utilize all the natural resources beyond the limit, so environmental problems increase. Fifth point is there. In the fifth point, so human beings has crucial role to maintain the environment. Human being has crucial role to maintain the environment. So human beings are having crucial role to maintain the environment, to maintain the environmental balance. So 6 point is there. In that 6 point, if human has disturbed the environmental balance, so human beings only have to conserve the environment. So if human has disturbed if human has disturbed environmental balance, so he has to conserve and improve the environment. He has to conserve and maintain the quality of environment. He has to maintain the quality of environment. So its responsibility is there. Human beings' responsibility is there to maintain the environment, to conserve the environment, to protect the environment, and to improve the quality of environment, to improve the quality of nature. So these points are important. So question will be asked, give reason. What will be asked? Environmental conservation is our social responsibility. Give reason. And in that, so we have to write there is interrelationship between human beings and environment, and the human beings has proved superiority over the earth as compared to the other animals. Human beings shown domination over the nature due to its intelligence, memory, and imagination, and he has utilized all the natural resources beyond the limit. So environmental problems arise, increased. So human beings has to conserve the environment, and human being has crucial role to maintain the environment. And if human being has disturbed the nature of the environment, if he has disturbed the balance of the environment, so he has to conserve and maintain the quality of the environment to improve the environment. So it's necessity, or it is human's responsibility. So next point is there, one question is there, how butterfly helps or contributes to environmental balance, or to maintain the environmental balance. So butterflies, each and every organism on the earth, it is contributing to conserve the environment, but human being utilizing that particular maximum portion of environment. Okay, so social responsibility, whose responsibility is there to conserve the environment? Human beings' responsibility is there. So next question is there, how butterfly contribute for the environmental conservation? How butterfly contributes for environmental conservation? So butterflies, they are moving, they are hovering over the flowers. Butterflies, they are moving over the flowers. You can say butterfly, and environmental, butterfly and environmental balance. So butterfly, what they are doing? First thing is the butterflies are roaming, they are moving from one flower to another flower. So what they are doing, they are helping for the pollination. So butterflies collect the nectar from different flowers, and helps to maintain, helps to carry out pollination. So pollination, we are knowing, transfer of the pollen grains from anther to the stigma. So pollination, in case of the reproduction, pollination is important. Transfer of the pollen grains from anther to the stigma, and then fertilization will take place. So next thing is the collect the nectar from the different flowers and helps to carry out pollination. And because of pollination, reproduction in the flowering plant takes place. flowering plants takes place, and butterfly helps to maintain environmental balance. To maintain the environmental balance. So butterfly, each and every organism is helping. So next thing is there, some laws are there about environmental conservation. Laws about environmental conservation. Next point is there, laws about environmental conservation. So which laws are there for the environmental conservation? In that, laws of environmental conservation. Next point is there, laws of environmental conservation. Laws of environmental conservation. So in that, first law is the Forest Conservation Act 1980. First one is the Forest Conservation Act 1980. Forest Conservation Act is there 1980, and according to this law, according to this act, land is conserved, or land is reserved, or land is protected. So, and it is prohibited by this law. So according to this act, land is reserved, land which is reserved for the forest, lands which is reserved for the, suppose you can say, sanctuaries, land reserve, it is prohibited by this law. So what you can say, land reserve for the forests or parks is prohibited by this act. That means in that land no one is allowed to use that particular land, no one is allowed to cut the forest, no one is allowed to interfere on that land. So next thing is there, example we can take. Example of what type of example? So if you want to do any project, if you are, suppose you want to do mining in the forest area, so you have to, according to this act, you have to take permission of the central government for mining or any. So permission of central government is necessary for mining or any other activities. If you are not taking permission of the central government, you are not allowed to use that particular land. And next thing is there, and suppose who is disobeying this law, who is disobeying this act, will get imprisonment for 15 days. Who disobeys this act will get imprisonment for 15 days.